Folks, it is true. Foreclosure filings are up, and I would argue that they are going to be up for several months, if not years to come. We actually saw some very poor behavior by lending institutions, some extend and pretend, some loan modifications, and all of that nonsense that is finally coming to an end in September. What does that mean? That means we are going to see more NODs, notice of defaults, the first step in a foreclosure process. We are also going to see different states act differently. Some states will have an accelerated process, meaning it could end up on the courthouse steps in as soon as 6 months. And then there will be others, like California, where it doesn't end up there for 3 years. But I want to talk about buying foreclosures because I do think this is a way one rental at a time fans can do it. We'll talk about websites like Hubzu and auction.com and Zone and things of that nature. We're going to just break down why some people focus on buying foreclosures, like Matt and I, and some people avoid them, like Dion. Matt, you were first today, so let's talk about your experience.
Yeah, I've bought from all of them, Hubzu and HUD.com and auction.com, and way it works.
HUD.org probably, right?
HUD.org or maybe edu,
whatever it is. Yeah.
But all those different sites. I bought something from all of them, but I bought the most probably from Hubzu or auction.com. I bought the most from.
And again, I think this is coming in. When something ends up on Hubzu, or I only have experience with auction.com, I'm going to assume they're all the same. But these are real sales. These are not, softball, short sales, tie up everything. It's the real thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, so what you're looking for is the term REO, right? Where it means that it's, real estate is owned by the bank, and that means they've taken it back. That means that no one's in there. That means, the ones that you see that say, don't disturb tenants or don't disturb the people in the unit or
occupancy.
Stuff. Yeah. Those are the ones you stay away from, because those are the ones that, Dion will tell people what that awesome experience can be like. So the ones that you want to focus on are the ones that, are empty, the ones that are in fact REO, and then you have a real shot at getting a deal done for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Dion, I know this is one of your 3 kind of no-goes, right? No HOA, for example, is one of them. But why do you avoid these?
So in retirement, I probably would be a little more flexible than I was in growth mode. In growth mode, I had 3 young kids, working full-time, single parent, side hustle of rentals. So I was managing the portfolio myself. So schedule was pretty full. So I had a very streamlined, simple, aggressive, multiple agents with multiple auto searches, where I know my market and I tracked it. And I think when I was ever hunting for a deal, it took a month or 2 to find what I wanted and then get under contract. So if it started taking 6 months, I might start thinking, well, how does driving for dollars work? Let me research that. How do mailers work? Let me contact Jesse Lee and see what to do with that, and, go through all that. But I've never had to do that. So it's really important to me to know what I want when I'm looking for a property. And I've listed that hundreds of times in videos. I also want the 3 things I know I don't want. And there's a few things I know I don't want. I don't want a place that I can't have washer dryer hookups in and couldn't easily add them. I don't want a place in certain bad neighborhoods. I don't want places in great school districts. Like, there's things I avoid. I also avoid no HOAs, right? That's a deal breaker for me. I don't care how good the deal is. Second is I don't want foreclosures or short sales. And the 2 reasons is you could tie up funds for a while if it's not REO. So if it's a foreclosure that's kind of in the works and you said could be in the market, and, and the bank is still working things out, and the short sales can tie money up, or at least the idea of that down payment needing to be available if that comes through. But the second thing is, I know several people who went through foreclosures in 2010 to 2013, and the way it worked for them was they get told, okay, the bank is foreclosing on your property, get out. And then eventually the bank got them out. And when the bank sold, they got a bill for, I think the smallest one was like 14,000 and the biggest one was around 60.
Oh, wow.
So what you owed versus what the bank has, then what it sells for, and how much the seller beat the bank up is a gap that the person who lost the property is ultimately responsible for. Yeah, bankruptcy is an option, but some of those people are still dealing with this a decade later of what they had to fall out from that. I don't want to be involved in that part of it. If it's REO and the sale price makes sense, sure, maybe, but I'm still not, like, I'm going to be in buying mode here in about 2 to 3 months.
Yeah.
And I'll give myself 2 months maybe to find a place with my normal searches from my
Mhm.
agents. If it
Mhm.
doesn't happen, I might expand.
Yeah, one of the things because again, I think this is coming, right? No, I don't think it is coming. You can, different parts of the country, different cities will act differently. But
Mhm.
buying on an auction site, again, I have one experience, a duplex that I purchased right from auction.com. You got to remember there's a couple of things from my experience, and I'd love to hear from you, Matt.
Yeah.
One of the things that I remember about that experience is that property kept going. At least, I think that came on and off like 5 times. And what I mean
At
by that
least.
is, yeah,
Yeah.
stupid people were doing stupid things, right? They were frankly overpaying.
Mhm.
And, they didn't go to the property, they didn't get in, whatever happened, but they just bid too much. And, ultimately what happened, the time we got it, we were in second place. And the first person didn't perform, and they were clearly tired with it because it literally came on and off 5 months in a row. And
Yeah.
that nobody could close on it.
Correct.
And, that's an experience. Second is my experience with these is, generally speaking, you can't get inside. They're generally secured. Sometimes, like, we're talking boarded up windows and, stuff
Mhm.
like that. Not only locked, but like really secured. So, getting inside is tough. No inspection reports. The bank's not going to pay for a sewer inspection or all these other things. And sometimes, again, in the GFC, it's not uncommon for that back door to be wide open, even though the front may appear secured. So,
Yeah.
lots of things to think about when you're looking at an auction and a foreclosure, right, Matt?
Yeah, it's definitely a more risky purchase for sure.
For
It just
sure.
is. Yeah,
Yeah.
because for me, I think all of them actually, I was able to get inside. Maybe
Legally?
sometime,
Yeah,
maybe,
I
maybe,
understand. Maybe.
maybe,
Yeah, you got inside regardless.
maybe. But then what I would do is, to obviously leave as small a footprint as possible, it was phone out and light it up with pictures.
Yeah.
Just a ton of pictures, take pictures of everything I could. Go in there with a real plumber's pipe, and or a wrench, and actually open up the clean out. And then I could just like stare down through so I could see if it had any immediate issues. But there's a lot of things in there because you want to go in there and, a big thing back in our day, Mike, when you and I were buying them, was people would go in and steal all the copper. And it would be a few $100s worth of copper. It'd be only like $400 to $500 worth of copper. And it was like $9,000 to $10,000 to replace the copper.
Oh, for sure.
So it was just like, hey, if you feel like you're going to steal the copper, I'll leave a sign on the wall and say, I'll pay you $500 and not steal my copper and go away. But yeah, it's a much riskier proposition. You really should know housing pretty well if you're going to do them that way. If they do allow for a full inspection, usually what they won't do is they've paid to winterize it in our area. So they've paid to shut everything down. So that means you're not going to get to test the heating system. You're not going to get to test the electrical system. You're not going to get to do, and they've usually had the meter outside removed.
Yes.
The one thing that people really have to watch out for if they do go down this path is that most states have regulatory rules around electric and around gas. If the electric has been shut off in our state, if the electric has been shut off for more than a year, you have to bring everything up to code.
Oh, ouch.
If the gas has been shut off for more than a year, you have to bring everything up to code.
Oh, wow.
And that can be on the electric, that can be $3,000 to $4,000 to put a new, what's called masthead in, and to put a new meter socket in. You could be looking at a lot of money because it's been off for more than a year. So in our areas, foreclosures didn't take as long, but you definitely had to do your research, because I got once, and what they literally did was they said, yeah, bad news. That building had been vacant for 3 years. It passed our moratorium. So we actually are abandoning the gas line. You're going to need a new gas line to your building.
Wow. That's not fun.
Like, yeah, no, it was like $10,000 or $12,000. Not fun.
Yeah.
So this is one of the reasons when auction purchase or, sheriff courthouse steps or anything like that comes up, I talk about it being a great strategy. Like the Burr strategy is a great strategy.
Yeah.
And flipping is a great strategy.
Sure.
I don't think it's something that you start with.
No,
I think a person who's just surviving on the W-2 income, doesn't have passive income, doesn't have experience, doesn't have a list of contractors to call, doesn't have the interactions with their permit office to deal with. But once you have 5 to 10 rentals, some experience, good reserves, more income than just your job, sure. Just like putting 1% in Bitcoin or 1%
Yep.
of your net worth in Tesla or something like that. Later, absolutely.
Yeah. The other thing I think that's really important that needs to be highlighted here is typically, Matt, at least in my experience, these had to be closed with cash. These aren't bankable, lendable assets.
Yeah. Yeah. Usually it was cash. There was
Maybe
a
hard
couple
money,
of,
maybe.
yeah, there was a couple of them. There were a couple of them that they allowed, or one of them, I think, that they allowed financing on. One of the tips or tricks that people can do is they can actually find out who actually owns the mortgage on that asset. And you can call them and ask them, is there any way that we could just do this loan with you? You already know the asset. You've already taken the write down. That's a call worth making. But yeah, very, very often, I had a bank that did a deal with me that we were able to finance the deal. But it was completely weird. You know, it was one of those things where I bought the thing for $155,000. And it was a duplex, and the market duplexes then were probably doing 2.25. So I bought it 75 grand under. And I just told him, I said, if there's, we got $75,000 in equity just because I got accepted. So work with me. And so they were willing to work with me, but that's relational. And so like Dion says, this is not a first time buyer thing.
Yeah. The last thing I'll say about this again, this is true of all auctions, let alone online or in person, which I've actually participated in. I think once a year in Fresno, they do this online auction for tax deeds and things like that, or in-person auction. I'm sorry, in person. And it's really wild. People go there and they quote unquote have their number, but then they get excited and they start blowing out, the number. So be very careful. Don't outbid. Again, my experience with my duplexes, it took 5 times and I was in second place, so you don't always have to be the highest bidder to win. But I think, as all three of us are saying, be very, very careful. But, from where I sit, it doesn't hurt to have a buy box. Again, if you have a buy box for MLS, why not have that on Hubzu? And why not have that? At least you know where prices are going. So again, more data.
It was interesting. One of the ones that I went to, there was this guy, and they were doing them at the properties, not at the courthouse, but they were actually doing on the property. So doing it on the property, and the auctioneer starts, and we're all sitting there and we're all kind of like waiting to see what this thing is going to start at, because it doesn't give you an indication of what the starting bid's going to be. And so what most people don't know is that they have to do that before it's become considered an REO. So they'll say, all right, it's this is what the house is, blah, blah, blah. And the bank will offer an opening bid of $600,000. And the entire crowd goes, oh, because we all get back in our cars and we're like, yeah, that's crazy retail. But then there was one where the bank number was really low, and the guy goes, it starts bidding up. And one guy's going, retail. And I was like, shut up. Like, let him buy it. Who cares?
Yeah.
I bought the bid on one, and it ended up being a house across the street from where I live now.
Oh, funny.
So I was like, man, I should have just bought that soup. I should have overpaid, but I didn't. But,
yeah. There you go. Well, at the end of the day, folks, I think foreclosures are certainly coming. Not, I think. Yes. Again, they will be very prevalent in some areas and not really in others. You have to watch timelines. Again, people talking about REOs disturbing the 2025 housing market are simply idiots. They don't understand. Could it impact 2026? Yes. Could it impact 2027? Absolutely. Right. It doesn't take 400 days, which is below average for some states, to end up as a problem in 2027. Sure. At the end of the day, if you're one rental at a time, I think you should be just, again, have a search criteria, watch it, just see where prices is going. Dion, you had a comment?
Yeah, for the doomers out there, I don't know if you have your data still, but in your daily update yesterday, you were talking about in 2009, 1 in 10 properties were foreclosures.
And that was Vegas specific, just so we can get tight on that. But yes.
And currently it's like 1 in
3,916.
Right. So the people that go, oh, it's just like 2009. We're a little bit off. So I did the data, looked it up with AI, and it was like, I think it was like 1 in 34 nationwide versus 1. Now it's like 1 in 800 or something like that. It was still a ridiculous.
Oh yeah, it's worse than that. The national numbers, this is from memory, was still 4 digits. I think Vegas was the number one market at 3,826, but the national was 3,246 or something. It's not even close. It's not 1 in 50 or 1 in 100. It's not even 1 in 1,000.
We are definitely watching, because Vegas just broke their modern day record, nothing to do with the great financial crisis, but
Mhm.
they broke their modern day record in default notices sent.
I'm watching
So,
too.
yeah, I mean, the Hawkins are ready.
It's going to get ready. It's going to get good. Dion, where can people find you?
Right here on YouTube, Dion Talk Financial Freedom, where you can do things like buy my book on Amazon, where Cracked Canvas just won a signed copy that'll be sent to him for leaving a
Nice.
review, and then I randomly select out of the reviews.
That's awesome.
Very cool. And Matt, where they can find you?
Lumberjack Landlord, 9 p.m. tomorrow. We got a lot to cover. We're going to talk about, as you guys know, last Sunday, whether Dion wants to debate it or not, we had 15 potential vacancies, 15. And we're going to give an update tomorrow night on where that number actually is, because I've still got time before the show to get stuff closed out. So I'm working my ass off trying to get it done. But yeah, we'll give an update on that tomorrow night to see how quickly we can recover from 15 vacancies.
Awesome, guys. Take care.